Hey, welcome to the channel. This is the channel over here. It might still say NeonMushroom down below, but if you caught the last video, it might not say that later.
We'll see. We'll try to get that done today. There's a lot of work to do today.
There's always a lot of work to do, but today, before that work is done, we want to talk about one of the special decks we've been playing on the channel recently. If you've watched our recent gameplay videos, we've been doing a lot of Commander Legends, and
links in the description.
Down
always
in the bippily boo. But one of the decks we wanted to talk about today, because I got this kind fellow right here sitting next to me.
Sup?
We have the Vial Smasher, the Fierce deck, and the Sakashima of 1,000 Faces deck.
Which are the same deck. I don't know why you listed them as different decks.
Don't worry about it.
Partners.
That's the magic of the partner mechanic. We know this is a popular combo on the internet right now, and we wanted to give you some tips and tricks about how to build it yourself if you know you were inspired to play this deck.
Or maybe some traps I fell for that you shouldn't. That did happen.
We learned some lessons.
Yeah. And really quick, this is the first deck interview we've done.
Yes.
We've done deck techs, and I've done deck techs I've done one with Guy, but this is when we were talking about in the Patreon announcement video, which depending on how far after the upload you're watching this, might not even exist on the channel anymore. We were talking about doing different types of content besides just the kind of mind-numbing amount of gameplay content we've been putting out. This is that. This is a deck interview, not necessarily a deck tech. The main difference is going to be the conversational flow of how we're talking about the deck and the lack of going over every single inclusion in the deck, because this is more geared towards giving you the generalized game plan more so than the list.
We want to give you the generalized game plan.
That says list in the description.
Yeah, list will always be in the description, but we want to give you the generalized game plan. We want to give you the tips and tricks, help you dodge the traps that we fell into, and we want to talk a bit about the player himself and sort of like how they came to the deck and what they'll be doing in the future with this or their other decks. As always, if you like this show or any of our other shows on YouTube, liking, sharing, and subscribing helps us out immensely. If you like our content and don't mind that extra mile, you can always support us over on Patreon, over at patreon.com/mtgthestack.
Like Acme, who's awesome!
Comment down below any of your thoughts and feelings, and we hope you enjoy the show. There's a deck in front of me right now. All right, Adrian Hunter. As we said, this deck is Vial Smasher the Fierce and Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. Yes. Can you do me a favor and can you read these cards?
I'll start with Vial Smasher because this is kind of the card that the entire strategy is built around. This is an old school partner commander that says black, red, colorless, 2/3, Goblin Berserker. Text: whenever you cast your first spell each turn, Vial Smasher the Fierce deals damage equal to that spell's CMC, converted mana cost, to an opponent chosen at random, a die roll. Partner. This is a legendary creature. The second commander, and that, by the way, that's Rakdos, so this being mono blue means we're in Grixis colors, which is not too shabby in commander. Sakashima of 1,000 Faces. 3/1 for blue and 3, human rogue. Text: you may have Sakashima of 1,000 Faces enter the battlefield as a copy of another creature you control, except it has Sakashima of 1,000 Faces' other abilities. And then it says Mirror Gallery. The words are, the legend rule doesn't apply to permanents you control, which is very close to the Mirror Gallery, except for it's only permanents you control, so your opponents still have the legend rule, which is kind of neat. Partner. Game plan. Loosely. Just if I had to highlight the game plan with just these two commanders, it'd be easy. Play Vial Smasher. Play Sakashima cloning Vial Smasher. Yeah, go ahead and grab another one. And then this is going to involve more information. I have a bunch of clones here, so Calvin's about to put down a Phantasmal image. Perfect. And use that Phantasmal image to copy Sakashima, who's copying Vial Smasher. And now every time we cast a spell, for the first time each turn, like a Treasure Cruise, well, we trigger 3 Vial Smashers and deal a total of 16, 24 damage?
24 damage.
24 damage. And, oh, we still get to cast the Treasure Cruise, too.
Oh, yeah.
Draw 3
also,
cards.
draw 3 cards.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the game plan and what the deck does. Now I guess we can talk about more detailed stuff with a loose overview of what we're trying to do here.
That's the game plan. This is the reason why the deck is so popular on the internet right now, because, you know, I would also love if my Treasure Cruise says deal 8 damage to an opponent at random.
That'd be sweet.
You go turn 3, tap out for Vial Smasher. Turn 4, tap out for Sakashima. The first thing I want to ask is, how do you protect the queen?
Protecting the queen, for anyone who's not familiar with the term, it means our deck revolves around these little pieces of cardboard here, and when they're not there, our deck doesn't really do anything. So we have to protect the queen. We do that first and foremost with our free interaction spells. We have a few pieces of free interaction, but we only have 4 that for free protect the queen.
The ones in my hand right now are Misdirection, Force of Negation, Fierce Guardianship, and Deflecting Swat.
You'll notice only 2 of those protect from a proper board wipe. So you need to actually counter the board wipe. But then Deflecting Swat and the Misdirection will allow you to redirect a single piece of targeted removal. These are very good. I did not want to build this to be I didn't want to jam my deck full of Force of Wills and stuff and super fast mana. It wasn't something I was interested in, so I avoided that, but I did play the pieces that I thought were necessary, and it seemed necessary to protect my little commander combo on board.
Which is to say, if you're watching this video right now and you want to build a meaner version of the Sakashima Vial Smasher deck, you totally can.
Absolutely you
First
can.
include Force of Will.
Put that in your deck. Put Force of Wills in your decks, guys. Mana Drain. Mana Drain's especially brutal in this deck because it lets you cheat on mana the next turn. I'm not playing that card, but if I should be. We're doing that. That's a way to protect our queen. Also, if we're board wipe, ideally they're not going to board wipe on turn 4. But if it's turn 5, we have cards like Flusterstorm and Swan Song. Or if we used a cheaper clone, we have Arcane Denial and Counter Spell Soul. So we have 2 mana up. But those are all kind of reactive ways to protect our board state. There's another way to kind of do it, and that's to rebuild very quickly. And the only way to really do that is using our mana rocks because we're outside of green. So we have plenty of mana rocks.
Before we get into the mana rocks and how to rebuild, I want to just go down the rabbit hole of I've played my commanders, I've protected the queen, and I'm now starting to cast clones. I mentioned Phantasmal Image a second ago. What are the other clones you play as far as broadly?
Yeah, we have a handful of clones. Actually, one of them we'll talk about in a minute, which shouldn't even be in the deck. The one that shouldn't be, yeah. We've got, so we prioritize clones. If we can get a clone that's cheaper, but has a downside, and that downside is usually you can only copy a creature you control, we do it. So we have cards like Glasspool Mimic.
Glasspool Mimic.
Also a modal downface card, so the other side is actually a Glasspool Shore, which is a land, which is kind of neat. It gives you a little bit more flexibility. We've got your Phantasmal Image, 2-drop clone. Mirror Image, 3-drop clone, but it's only copy something you control. Quasi-Duplicate, Phyrexian Metamorph. All these clones cost 3 mana. There's different downsides. Metamorph costs 2 life, blah, blah, blah. But Metamorph can also hit an artifact. Not that we're doing that. And then our 4 mana clones, we're looking for cards like Actual Clone, Vizier of Many Faces, Spark Double, Clever Impersonator, Evil Twin's not bad, but we're only using Evil Twin for the clone side, not the other side. And then moving up, we've got cards like Sublime Epiphany, which isn't a proper clone, but boy does it sure drop a clone. It sure does drop a clone, token clone in the play.
It gives you the token also, it costs 6 mana, so you get, big Vial Smash triggers.
Yep, and then you get draw a card, bounce a permanent, and counter a spell, and counter an activated ability. Sublime Epiphany is a pretty neat commander card, is what I'm saying. And that's kind of what we're doing with the clones in a nutshell. I don't know if you want to talk about that now or later.
No, we can actually move into it right now.
Yeah, I'd love to have you. I think most people have dodged this mistake, but I guess I just want to highlight what an idiot I am because I say read the card, and I didn't read the whole card.
When all 4 of us built our decks, we've all made our own individual mistakes in how to make the deck better. For example, I probably could have played more than 2 board wipes.
Yes.
You'll see that what happens in the second game.
Yep.
But then Adrian here, he does have 2 cards that he really didn't need. And the first one we want to go over in the clone package is Sakashima's Protege.
Yep.
Sakashima's Protege costs 2 blue and 4 other. It's a shapeshifter. It has Flash and Cascade.
Yep. Which are pretty brutal on their own.
Together, wonderful combination. And it's in the clone package, so you're expecting me to say it's a clone, right? You may have Sakashima's Protege enter the battlefield as a copy of any permanent that entered the battlefield this turn.
Our deck taps out every turn, and because of this, we're probably going to be trying to cast this on instant speed into play, which means it can't clone either of our commanders. So it's just not very good. This card is more for say you're playing a Simic deck, and you've got, I can't remember the name of the card, but you got that green creature from the new set with Cascade, 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 Cascade. Well, if one of the cascades into this, it comes into play and copies the Cascade, 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 Cascade. It has Cascade.
Yo, dog. I heard you like Cascade.
I heard you like Cascade. That's the type of strategy you want to play this card in. This deck, it was a bit of a miss, so it's going to be cut. It's in the list in the description, but don't worry, I'll be keeping that deck tuned. If you're part of the Discord, I'm going to be keeping everyone updated with my thoughts and concerns on how I do want to tune the deck.
The other card that's in my hand right now that will be getting cut from the deck list down below is Mirror Gallery.
Mirror Gallery. There's a reason for that, and it's because Calvin highlighted to me. It's something that was obvious when he said it, but it just wasn't in my head.
Something very important when you're doing this game plan, when you turn 3, cast Vial Smasher the Fierce, and turn 4, cast Sakashima, when you go to cast your next clone, it's going to explicitly copy the Sakashima card.
Not the Vial Smasher. You want to copy the card that's copying Vial Smasher that has a mirror gallery on it.
The reason why is now you will have a redundant copy of the mirror gallery effect. If you copy the Vial Smasher doesn't have the mirror gallery effect on it. And if you keep on going down this rabbit hole, you might get to say 4 or 5 Vial Smasher the Fierces. But then all the opponent has to do
is kill the Sakashima. And then all of a sudden, all your Vial Smashers look at each other, scream, and all but one disappears.
Yep.
It's not good. You want to keep it a secret from the Vial Smashers that there's more Vial Smashers, and that's what the Imposter, that's what 1,000 Faces does.
Yeah. General rule of thumb: if you have a special clone card that adds additional text to the card, and you plan on doing more clones, you need to be copying that particular clone copy.
Absolutely.
An old favorite of mine that I used to do this with is Progenitor Mimic.
Yes.
Which is why I knew this rule, this little tip here.
Yeah, it's very helpful for me because it lets me cut mirror gallery from my deck. You don't need the mirror gallery because you've constantly got one in your command zone. So what am I going to do with the card mirror gallery? Nothing. Spend 5 mana? I don't think so.
It does the 5 damage with Vial Smasher triggers. That's good, right?
So does Dictator of the Twin Gods. And Explicit Blood.
That's something I also want to go down. While we're down the rabbit hole of we are winning the game with our Vial Smashers, you have stuff like Dictate of the Twin Gods. You have stuff like Furnace of Wrath. And then something that I thought was really cool was Obosh, the Prey Piercer.
Yeah. I actually want to talk about Obosh for a second here. He's in the 99. It's not a companion. But Obosh cares about things with odd mana sources dealing damage, right? Well, your clones are going to copy all copyable attributes. That includes the converted mana cost on the board. So, Vial Smasher's a 3-drop, and Obosh makes them deal double damage. So, Obosh is just another thing that doubles the damage output on your Vial Smashers. You have 1 Obosh the Prey Piercer and 2 Vial Smashers, and you cast Temporal Trespass. Well, guess what? That's 22 damage twice. Also, a little caveat, the mana base is super uninteresting in this deck. I do want to state, I do this with Yuriko too. I'm playing as many fetch lands as possible, not only because it's very good to make sure you hit your color requirements, but because it helps with the Delve sub-theme, because we're not a green deck, we don't ramp that hard, but we're trying to cast these huge spells, so we're trying to cheat on resources by using things like Undaunted, Delve, things like that, free spells. We're trying to do that whole thing in this deck as well. But you get it. You double the damage, and it's good.
The last card I want to go bring up as far as Magical Christmas Land, Mirage. Can I never say
Mirage Mirror?
Mirage Mirror.
Yeah, looks kind of like Mirror Gallery.
When I was looking at this in the deck list, it stood out as is this really necessary? But the more I think about it, the better and better it feels.
Yeah, it's more of a utility card than it is a proper clone. It can certainly be a proper clone. When you're going to cast your first spell for a turn, you can pay to make Mirage Mirror, which you should probably read. 3 colorless, artifact, 2 mana. Mirage Mirror becomes a copy of target artifact, creature, enchantment, or land until end of turn. So it's like a clone that can re-clone. Important thing is you can copy your Sakashima that's copying Vial Smasher if you would like to cast a spell to get 3, 4, 5 triggers. Or you can copy other people's utility pieces.
You can copy other people's cards.
Yes, and that's the most important thing.
And that sort of strikes me as, wait a minute, this might be good not just in the clone deck, but in...
That's just a generically good card, I think.
This is a generic.
I think we ragged on the command zone a little bit in another video, but one thing they did nail on the head on a few of their podcasts, I believe, is the power level of Mirage Mirror. I think it's underappreciated. I think they're onto something with that. Mirage Mirror is a sweet card. I like it a lot.
Just as a small aside, we actually do appreciate the command zone and its content they make. We know it's just not for us.
Yeah,
so
yeah, you get it.
It's good content. This is me being finished with the rabbit hole of you're winning the game.
Yes.
One thing I do want to point out is in Dice Roll Tribal, you are casting Vial Smasher the Fierce on turn 3 and Sakashima of 1,000 Faces on turn 4. And I am the type of player that will board wipe after that.
Yes.
Because I know what's about to happen.
Yes.
And once you get board wipe, these are now in the command zone again, and they cost more to play.
Yeah, so respectively, they cost 5 and 6 instead of 3 and 4.
What are you doing to get back ahead? Because this is still a Protect the Queen deck. You win with these.
If we didn't have the interaction, if we got caught with our pants down, as it were, we really got to try to recast our stuff. And there's a few ways we can do this. We've got our rocks. Our rocks are great. They're important. We're playing, I think we said Talisman, Signets, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet. We're playing Dockside Extortionist.
This might not surprise you.
Yeah, because we're a red deck and we're playing Commander.
This is a really good card. If you play red, you play this card.
But this is a card we will actually tutor for, explicitly for this card. And that's because part of our game plan already has us playing a crap load of clones. And if you clone a Dockside Extortionist, that pays for the commander tax and some.
Like, you can go on turn 3, Vial Smasher the Fierce.
Mhm.
Turn 4, Sakashima, right? And then the board wipe happens, and that's sad. You're sad. But turn 5, ideally you have 5 mana. You can go Dockside Extortionist, and then I have a Glass Pool Mimic in my hand.
Mhm.
I can do that. If you didn't get to that 5th mana and you only have 4, that could be a Phantasmal Image, right? And suddenly, ideally,
You can redeploy.
you have a lot of treasure tokens. Next turn, they come back out.
100%. So we will regularly Demonic Tutor or Vampiric Tutor, which we play, as well as Mystical Tutor, for our Dockside Extortionist because of that application. That's kind of another way we try to protect our assets. As well as we play like Nightscape Familiar, which is very helpful, because Nightscape Familiar actually makes Vial Smasher a 2-drop and Sakashima a 3-drop, which is powerful. But
Medallion
unfortunately,
effects.
yes, medallion effects, especially 2-color medallion effects, are great.
I underappreciated them before.
Yeah, and this one regenerates. Nightscape Familiar is a house. I love it for all combinations of black and blue, black and red, or all 3.
One last curious thing I want to point out about Dockside Extortionist. I know this is also Magical Christmas Land, but something I thought was neat if you're playing in the right pod. If you tutor up Sakashima the Imposter,
Yes,
and
yeah.
you can get 13
8,
treasure
12,
tokens.
and 13 would be going up.
13 is the magical number.
Because you got to cast the Sakashima and then bounce it for 4 mana, and then cast it again, which costs 12, and you're at parity. So if you have one more, you can now generate infinite treasure tokens.
Yep.
Yeah, that seems very powerful. If you're playing against, say, an artifact or enchantments and Batman's Enchantress deck in your pod, you might tutor for this. You might actually tutor for this effect.
You cast the Dockside Extortionist.
Mm-hmm.
You cast the Sakashima.
Yes.
And then you bounce the Sakashima.
Correct.
And then at this point, if let's say it was 9.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh wait, because Sakashima is going to actually clone the Dockside when it comes in. So if your Dockside makes just 9, and then you cast Sakashima using 4 of it, well, the Sakashima comes in and makes 9 more.
Because
you
you only
need way less mana.
You only need the
13.
8 to continue the loop.
Yeah,
It actually is 9. You just need the land.
You just need 9. Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. So it's actually pretty good. You would tutor for this. You would tutor for this in the right pod. It's not always going to be that awesome, but when it is,
But
friends
it's
are going to be
there.
like, that's lame.
Dockside is already
Yeah.
extra good in the clone deck, and then this is an infinite mana outlet.
Yep. And man, what is this video getting to be? 18, 13?
The last thing I want to ask.
Yeah. What
This
do you got?
deck on paper looks a lot like Yuriko,
Kind of.
and when I saw it played, it feels a lot like Nicobolas.
Sure, mid-range. It's definitely a mid-range deck, just like the Bolas deck is.
You seem to be quite the Grixis player.
I
and
like Grixis, yes.
And I know there are a lot of people on this channel that follow explicitly you and the decks that you play. Should we be expecting more of this deck at the expense of one of those other 2 decks?
Yeah, not Yuriko, that's my favorite deck that I have, but this does fill the shoes of that Grixis mid-range deck while having a really cool gimmick. So for now, for probably the next month or so, maybe 2, any deck that I would play Bolas in, I'll be playing Vial Smasher, Sakashima. I kind of in love with the deck. If you're part of the Discord, I'll be talking about how I want to tune it throughout the next few days. Just updating it and picking different pieces, replacing that Mirror Gallery and that Protege. Yeah, you'll be seeing more of this deck. I actually like it a lot. I'm really glad we built these decks for the Legends, because Aiden also has a brutal deck that we've got a game out soon for.
Oh, I'm so excited for that game to go up. I know the 2 Commander Legend games that we played previously were really brutal to Aiden,
But
when everyone can come out of the command zone and the board wipe player was caught with his pants down,
brutal.
I love that deck. I love this deck. I love the decks that we have. But that's all we have to say right now for the Vial Smasher the Fierce Sakashima deck. Again, comment down below any of your thoughts and concerns. If you have any questions that you want to ask Adrian today, leave a comment. We will respond to them.
Yes, 100%. We really do try to respond to most of the comments. It's getting a little bit daunting. More people are commenting now, and I feel very bad that I can't get to them as quickly at this point.
We'll figure it out as we go along. And as always, thank you for watching.